Hey warriors, welcome back to my channel Motivation Zone. I watched my best friend destroy himself trying to be the good guy. He gave everything, his time, his forgiveness, his peace to people who didn't even remember his name. 3 years later, I saw him again, but he wasn't broken anymore. He was calm, focused, ruthless, and he told me something I'll never forget. The world didn't change. I did. I stopped being easy to break. That sentence hit me like a truth I'd been running from, because deep down I knew it wasn't just his story. It was mine, and it's yours too. Right now there are two versions of you. Version 1, the one that explains, apologizes, tolerates, and keeps hoping people will change. You bend over backwards to be understood, respected, loved, but the more you give, the less they see your value. Then there's version 2, the quiet one, the certain one, the version that doesn't argue, doesn't beg, doesn't chase. They don't need to prove anything. They remove people without noise, without guilt, without warning. You've lived too long as version 1, and it's draining the strength out of you. It's made you soft where you should be sharp, kind where you should be calculated. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." He wasn't glorifying cruelty, he was teaching control, the discipline to stop breaking yourself for others who would never do the same for you. Today I'm going to show you how to awaken version 2, the ruthless version of you. The one Machiavelli wrote about, the one people sense but can never manipulate. There are 8 psychological shifts that separate these two versions of you. Each one will demand that you let go of a piece of your old self. Each one will feel like fire, burning away who you were. But if you stay until the end, you'll walk away unrecognizable to your past self. You'll stop seeking peace from others and start generating it from within. You'll learn what it truly means to be untouchable, because this world will break you unless you become ruthless. And before we begin, I want you to drop this in the comments: I will not break again. Number 1, stop giving yourself to the ungrateful. The first transformation into ruthlessness begins with this realization. Your weakness was never your heart, it was where you placed it. You've been bleeding energy into people who feed on your light but never once return it. You kept helping, forgiving, explaining, hoping that maybe, just maybe, they'd finally see your worth. But they never do. Why? Because in the psychology of power, what's freely given is subconsciously devalued. People instinctively equate generosity with need. They assume that if you give too easily, it's because you crave validation. And the moment someone senses that need, they own you. Weakness isn't born from failure. It's born from emotional dependence disguised as kindness. Machiavelli warned, "Men are quicker to offend one who is loved than one who is feared." The ungrateful exploit your goodness precisely because they don't fear losing it. They know you'll stay. They know you'll forgive. They know that no matter how much they take, you'll rationalize their behavior with excuses like, "They're just going through something." That's not compassion. That's self-delusion. The truth is, people remember pain, not kindness. They respect consequences, not explanations. And the more predictable your mercy, the more invisible you become. Every time you tolerated disrespect, you trained them to see you as disposable. Every time you explained your worth, you confirmed that you needed to prove it. And that's the silent psychology behind why the good get broken first. The world doesn't destroy you because you're kind. It destroys you because you confuse kindness with harmlessness. The ungrateful are predators in human form. They don't hunt your body. They hunt your guilt. They manipulate your empathy, twist it, and weaponize it against you. They make you feel wrong for protecting yourself.
So stop believing you owe loyalty to everyone you once cared about. Your care is a privilege, not a birthright. Give it only to those who've earned it through consistency and respect. Everyone else should feel the sharpness of your absence. Detachment is your defense. Indifference is your revenge. Machiavelli understood this when he wrote, "Men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, and covetous." It wasn't cynicism, it was protection. He was warning you, never give power to the ungrateful, because they will always use it to weaken you. You must unlearn the illusion that being good will save you. Goodness without boundaries is self-destruction. Ruthlessness isn't cruelty, it's correction. It's the moment you stop rewarding betrayal with access, when you stop answering every call, stop forgiving every lie, stop explaining your silence. That's when the ungrateful panic, because they realize their control is gone. They can no longer feed off your emotional reactions, and that's when the power shifts. You become the one who decides who gets your attention and who fades into irrelevance. The world belongs to those who conserve their energy like a weapon, not those who waste it like a wish. Every ounce of strength you pour into the wrong people is power stolen from your future. Withdraw it, guard it, rebuild it. Let them wonder what happened to your warmth. Tell them it froze when you finally saw the truth. Some people deserve your distance more than your devotion. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My kindness has limits. Number 2, turn pain into power. Pain is the most honest teacher you'll ever have because it never lies. It doesn't care about your excuses, your comfort, or your ego. It exposes you, it strips you down. It burns away every illusion until only the real you remains. The difference between the broken and the powerful isn't the pain they've felt, it's what they did with it. Weak people drown in pain because they expect fairness. They still think the world owes them healing. But dark minds know the truth. Pain is currency. You either spend it building yourself, or you waste it complaining. The ones who rise from destruction aren't lucky, they're strategic. They look at betrayal, heartbreak, and failure and ask, what is this teaching me about control? Machiavelli once said, never waste the opportunity offered by a good crisis. Every moment of suffering is an invitation to evolve. Pain isn't punishment, it's information. It tells you where your weakness lives. Every betrayal shows you who you trusted too easily. Every rejection reveals where you misplaced your worth. Every loss exposes your attachment to illusions. Once you start viewing pain through that lens, it stops being a wound and becomes a weapon. You use it to sharpen your mind instead of shatter it. The dark psychology of transformation lies in this. Suffering becomes strategy. Most people cry to feel better. The strong reflect to get stronger. They don't chase closure, they create power. They study their enemies instead of hating them. They analyze their failures instead of escaping them. Every heartbreak becomes emotional discipline. Every disappointment becomes focus. That's Machiavellian resilience, using the world's cruelty as fuel, not as chains. Pain is the forge where dominance is born. When life breaks you, it's showing you who you are without your masks. Don't run from it. Sit with it. Feel every ounce of it. Because once you survive your own fire, no one else can burn you again.
When you stop fearing pain, you become unpredictable, and unpredictability is power. Manipulators lose their grip because their favorite weapon, your fear, no longer works. Machiavelli believed that a wise man learns more from misfortune than comfort. Pain activates awareness. It silences illusion. It sharpens perception. You start seeing people for who they are, not who you want them to be. You start choosing logic over emotion. You move differently, like someone who's already walked through fire and lived. That energy commands respect because it's dangerous. It's quiet, heavy, steady. You no longer wear scars with shame, you wear them like armor. That's when you cross from being shaped by pain to shaping others through it. The next time life hurts you, don't curse it. Study it. Ask, what advantage is hidden here? Every ounce of agony hides a seed of dominance, if you're ruthless enough to use it. Drop this in the comments. My pain builds power. Number 3, kill the need to be understood. The hunger to be understood is the chain that keeps powerful minds trapped in mediocrity. You keep explaining yourself, hoping people will finally see your intentions, your truth, your goodness. But here's the hard truth. Most people don't care to understand you. They care to categorize you. They don't listen to comprehend. They listen to identify weakness. And the more you explain, the more ammunition you hand them. In dark psychology, understanding equals control. When people know your motives, they know how to move you. That's why the ruthless stay silent. They let others guess, project, assume, and in that fog, they remain untouchable. Machiavelli wrote, "He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command." And command begins with mystery. You never over-explain, because explaining is a defensive act, proof that you still crave validation. Power doesn't justify itself, it simply exists. The most intimidating people are those who don't explain why they act, feel, or disappear. Their silence creates tension. That tension creates respect. The weak beg to be seen. The strong choose to be misunderstood. When you stop defending yourself, you become unpredictable, and unpredictability is fear's twin. People can't control what they can't read. That's why rulers, leaders, and strategists throughout history mastered the art of ambiguity. They spoke less than they knew, acted more than they explained, and moved in silence while everyone else broadcasted their intentions. You must learn to do the same. Every time you rush to explain your motives, you hand people the blueprint to your emotions. You teach them how to disarm you. The danger of transparency is that it invites dissection, and dissection kills the mystery that makes power magnetic. Machiavelli said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." The wise stop justifying themselves early, while the fool keeps talking until he's exposed. You owe no one clarity about your choices. You owe no one an explanation for your distance, your silence, your standards, or your change. Let them misunderstand. Let them assume you've become cold, arrogant, detached. Every false label they give you becomes another layer of armor. The moment you stop trying to correct them, you reclaim control. Because control lives in restraint. Silence is not weakness. It's weaponized composure. It makes others uneasy because they can't predict your next move. And uncertainty always breeds caution. That's psychological dominance.
Think of the most powerful people you've ever encountered. They weren't loud, they were composed. Their presence demanded attention not because they shouted, but because they didn't need to. Every word they didn't say spoke louder than 1,000 justifications. You must become that kind of presence, a mystery no one can fully decipher. A storm that never announces itself. When someone tries to provoke you, let your silence suffocate their ego. When someone misjudges you, let them sit in their own assumptions. The truth is your weapon. Don't waste it proving your innocence. Those who need to understand you don't deserve to, and those who truly value you never need an explanation.
Power isn't about convincing others. It's about becoming so self-assured that their confusion no longer matters. The day you stop needing to be understood is the day you truly begin to understand yourself. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My silence speaks power. Number 4. Detach, don't beg. Begging for attention, love, or closure is how powerful people become slaves. The more you chase what's walking away, the smaller you appear in the eyes of those who never planned to value you. Detachment isn't coldness, it's control. It's the discipline of walking away from anything that threatens your self-respect, no matter how much you wanted it. Most people confuse attachment with loyalty, but they are opposites. Loyalty is strength. Attachment is dependence. The world conditioned you to believe that fighting for people proves your care, but in dark psychology, the one who chases always loses power. Every act of begging, whether for time, attention, or affection, broadcasts weakness, and weakness invites exploitation. Machiavelli wrote, "He who is not master of himself cannot be master of others." When your emotions control you, anyone can. The ruthless detach not because they lack emotion, but because they refuse to be ruled by it. When someone pulls away, they don't argue, they observe. When someone disrespects them, they don't plead, they vanish. Their silence becomes a sword, their absence becomes a message. In a world built on emotional manipulation, detachment is the ultimate rebellion. It terrifies manipulators because it kills their fuel, your reaction. Once you stop reacting, you become unreadable. And when you're unreadable, you become feared. The secret weapon of the powerful isn't rage, it's indifference. Indifference burns colder than hate and lasts longer than love. When people can no longer predict how you'll respond, they lose control over your mind. That's when your energy begins to shift. You stop being the one who waits and start being the one who decides. Those who once ignored you begin to notice your silence, because silence from someone who used to react is louder than any confrontation. Detachment gives you authority, the authority to walk away from chaos with your peace intact. Machiavelli believed that emotional control was the foundation of power because those who cannot detach are destined to be controlled by those who can. He said, "Men are driven by two principal impulses, love and fear. If you master detachment, you control both." The ruthless understand that not everyone deserves access, not every emotion deserves expression, and not every relationship deserves revival. You must learn to withdraw your energy without announcement, to close doors quietly, and let your distance speak louder than your words. That is psychological warfare at its most elegant. The more you detach, the more power you reclaim. You begin to realize that peace isn't found in connection, it's found in control. True strength is the ability to love deeply and still walk away the moment your self-respect is threatened. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care correctly, starting with yourself. Because when you stop begging, you stop bleeding. And when you stop bleeding, no one can feed on you again. Drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose peace over people. It doesn't forgive, it exploits. The same people who smile at your kindness today will use your forgiveness against you tomorrow. That's the nature of unchecked human desire. It feeds on what you fail to protect. People always test the limits you refuse to enforce. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are gates that guard what is sacred within. They are not cruelty, they are clarity. And clarity terrifies manipulators because it strips them of leverage. In dark psychology, boundaries are weapons. The one who enforces them dictates the terms of every relationship. When you say no without guilt, you project dominance. When you remove access after betrayal, you declare that your worth is non-negotiable. The powerful don't debate respect, they demonstrate it through distance. Forgiveness without consequence is submission. Mercy without structure breeds chaos. The moment you stop rewarding bad behavior with your presence, you begin to command silence from those who once disrespected you. The fearful will call it arrogance. The weak will call it ego. But the wise will recognize it as self-command. Machiavelli once said, "He who allows himself to be deceived is deserving of deception." You teach others how to treat you by what you tolerate. The moment you protect your space like a fortress, the parasites vanish, the noise fades, and your peace returns. That's when you finally see who truly values you, those who respect your rules instead of resenting them. Boundaries attract quality and repel corruption. They separate the loyal from the opportunistic, the genuine from the manipulative. They make your presence earned, not available. To live without boundaries is to live without dignity. To live with them is to rule your world with quiet authority. The ruthless understand this. Kindness without defense invites destruction. So they build walls not from fear, but from wisdom. Because the goal isn't to be liked, it's to be respected. Remember this, every boundary you set is a declaration. This is where my peace begins. Those who truly value you will never ask you to lower your armor. They'll stand outside it with honor. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My boundaries protect me. Number 6. Master the art of silence. Silence is the weapon of the powerful when words lose their value. Most people fear silence because it reveals their lack of control. They talk to fill the air, to prove confidence, to seek validation through noise. But every unnecessary word you speak becomes ammunition for someone else's manipulation. The wise know that in a world addicted to talking, silence is dominance. Machiavelli warned, never reveal all your thoughts. It makes you predictable and vulnerable. The moment others can read your emotions, they can predict your reactions. And whoever can predict you can control you. Silence makes you unreadable. It builds mystery, forces others to second-guess themselves.
The quiet man in the room always holds more power than the one shouting for attention. Silence is not emptiness, it's strategy. It shifts control without confrontation. When you say nothing, others reveal everything, their insecurities, motives, and fears, while trying to decode you. The ruthless use this to their advantage. They listen more than they speak, observe more than they explain, and act more than they promise. The weak rush to prove their point. The strong wait for the perfect moment to strike. Every pause you hold in conversation increases your authority. Every time you let others fill the silence, they unknowingly surrender information. Machiavelli understood that power thrives in perception. The less people know of your intentions, the more they fear them. Silence creates psychological tension. It makes people project their insecurities onto you. They start wondering what you're thinking, and that uncertainty gives you invisible control. Silence isn't absence, it's presence amplified. You don't need to shout to be heard. Your restraint speaks louder than chaos. The loud crave power. The silent already possess it. History's rulers understood. The less they revealed, the more others imagined. And the more they imagined, the more they obeyed. When someone insults you, stay silent. Watch them crumble under the weight of their own guilt. When someone provokes you, give no reaction. Let their desperation expose them. Your silence will echo louder than any argument. The fool defends himself with words. The wise guard himself with quiet. The moment you stop explaining, you shift from emotional to strategic. Power doesn't beg to be understood, it demands to be felt. Silence makes you unpredictable, and unpredictability breeds respect. When you learn to hold your tongue, you learn to hold your power. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, the one who masters silence becomes untouchable.
Drop this affirmation in the comments. My silence controls chaos. They don't attach to people, they attach to opportunity. They understand that alliances shift like tides, and instead of resisting, they ride the current. Your loyalty should be a mask, not your identity. You wear it when it serves your purpose, and remove it when it becomes a liability. That's not cruelty, that's realism. The world rewards calculation, not sentiment. Machiavelli wrote, "A wise man ought never to depend wholly on one thing or one person. Dependence destroys autonomy, and autonomy is the root of dominance. Never reveal where your true allegiance lies. Let others believe you're on their side, while you remain free inside. The illusion of loyalty is more powerful than loyalty itself. It comforts others while keeping you untouchable." In politics, business, and personal life, this principle builds empires. Kings fall because they trust too deeply. Subordinates vanish because they serve too faithfully. Friends become enemies when they misunderstand equality for power. When you are too loyal, people stop respecting you. They test your limits. They exploit your devotion. And worst of all, they stop fearing your withdrawal. Fear maintains order. When people know you can walk away without hesitation, your loyalty becomes a privilege, not a guarantee. That's how respect is earned. Give loyalty like a sword, sharp, deliberate, and only when it cuts in your favor. Never give it like a gift. Gifts are forgotten. Weapons are remembered.
This mindset makes you unpredictable. And unpredictability is the ultimate psychological advantage. No one can manipulate what they cannot define. That is the essence of Machiavellian power. To remain a mystery in plain sight, loyal in appearance, sovereign in reality. The modern world calls this cold, heartless. But those are the words of the powerless, the same people who worship those who betrayed them. Remember this, loyalty without strategy is self-betrayal. You owe nothing to anyone who would not bleed for your survival. Your allegiance must belong to your purpose, not to the people who drift in and out of your path. Number 8. Become untouchable. Becoming untouchable is the final evolution of power. The point where no insult, betrayal, or manipulation can pierce your armor. This isn't arrogance or cruelty, it's sovereignty. The world will always test you, with chaos, deceit, and disappointment. The weak break. The fearful react. The unprepared crumble. But the untouchable move like shadows across the battlefield, calm, calculated, and unshaken. Machiavelli wrote, "He who is wise will be master of himself, for he who is mastered by others is never free." True freedom is inner mastery. To become untouchable, stop chasing love, approval, and validation. These are illusions, leashes disguised as comfort. The world doesn't honor virtue. It respects control, precision, and power. When you stop feeding your ego through others, you reclaim your energy, and that energy becomes a fortress. The untouchable build themselves deliberately. They invest in skill, discipline, and patience. They move with quiet confidence, their reputation built not by noise, but by presence. In dark psychology, people fear what they cannot control. And when you detach from reaction, expectation, and the need to be understood, you become unreadable, a psychological enigma. No one can predict you. No one can pull your strings. You've removed the levers. The untouchable don't act from emotion.
They act from strategy. Their anger is measured. Their fear, irrelevant. Their desire, disciplined. Every word, every silence, every movement is intentional. They become the still axis around which chaos spins. Machiavelli said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." Fear, in its highest form, isn't terror. It's respect. It's the unspoken awareness that crossing you has a cost. Untouchability means people hesitate before testing you. It's the silent declaration that you are no longer available for exploitation. Betrayal no longer shakes you. Insults no longer reach you. You are no longer a reflection of others' opinions. You are the embodiment of your own discipline and will. To reach this level, you must shed your final dependencies. The need to explain, to be forgiven, to be understood. Rise above attachment, resentment, and validation. The untouchable are anchored within themselves, and no storm can uproot that. At this stage, power becomes effortless. People sense it, some respect it, others fear it, but none ignore it. You stop playing the game. You become the game. You move through the world untouchable, because you have mastered the only kingdom that ever mattered, yourself. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Nothing can break me.
None of this is easy, but every step you take in this direction strips the world of its power over you. Machiavelli once wrote, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." Today, you are choosing wisdom. You are choosing control. You are choosing ruthlessness, not the kind born from cruelty, but from discipline, silence, and precision. This is the version of you that cannot be bent, manipulated, or broken. The road ahead will test you. It will challenge your patience, your strength, and your will. But every trial will now serve a purpose. Every betrayal becomes data. Every obstacle becomes a demonstration of your evolution. You are no longer someone who reacts. You are someone who decides. The untouchable are not born. They are forged in the fire of restraint, sharpened through strategy, and shielded by self-mastery. Stand in this truth. Move through life with calm authority and quiet dominance. Become the presence that needs no validation, the force that commands without noise, the ruler who rises without permission. And understand this, the world will notice the change, but only after you have already become untouchable. If this message spoke to you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more strategies to make you stronger, smarter, and impossible to break. You are no longer the version that bends. You're the version that rules. Drop this final affirmation in the comments. I am untouchable now.